the third chapter. So, what we were studying was, the illusion of control, right? So, the illusion of control. So, let's summarize that illusion of control. What is the illusion in the illusion of control? And why is it bad?
Illusion is the result.
Is what?
Illusion is the result.
Illusion is that I control.
I control. But you do control, right?
In a way.
Yeah. So, what is the illusion then?
That you have control over the results, right?
That's correct. You're
Being
Control
away from
everything.
truth.
being.
Being away from truth.
That is a very general thing. No, that's not.
Maybe you control everything, whereas you're just controlling something.
Exactly right. The illusion of control is that, first of all, in Sanskrit it's very interesting to read this. Kartrutva. It's called kartrutva. Do you understand what a kartrutva means?
You are the doer of it.
Kartrutva means doership, or in English they say agency. Is man an agent? Is a question that is also in Christian philosophy and all that in medieval times. But that's what it's called, agency or doership. Is man a doer? Yes or no? Is man a doer or not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, man is a doer. But man is not 100% doer. Right? 99% is Prakriti's doership. So kartrutva means buddhi purvaka kriya kartrutvam. That means that which I intentionally do is what is my doership. That which does not happen intentionally, things like blinking and breathing when you're not controlling it, these are things that happen, right? So that which is happening without your intentionality behind it, you are not the karta. Nor is Prakriti karta, because can Prakriti have kartrutva? That's a very good question, right? Does Prakriti have kartrutva? In English, does nature have doership?
Does not have intent.
Exactly, right? You cannot sue gravity. If you drop a stone on somebody, you and gravity are not culpable. Right? So it is only where intentionality, where buddhi resides, there the kartrutva resides, right? Ownership, responsibility resides. Responsibility does not reside where there is no ownership or where there is no kartrutva, doership. So Prakriti has no kartrutva. Why? Because it's abuddhi purvaka. There is no intelligence driving behind it. Even though there is an intelligence at a different level, but at the level of physical world, there is no intelligence. It's a machine, right? So there's no intentionality there. There's an intentionality in the doership of the jiva, of the being. And that is what the kartrutva is. So there is kartrutva only in man, not in nature. Nature has no kartrutva, no doership. Man has doership, right? So the illusion of control, one aspect of it, because other aspect of it, we'll talk about it when, in the next few verses. But at least one aspect of it, kartrutva, is that in all the things that we do, that which we actually do is but 1% or less. I'm just making it up, so it's less than 1%. Whatever. It's very minimal. That which we don't intentionally do is the bulk of it. But that should not confuse us on the effectiveness of these two. That 1%, even though it is just 1%, it is highly effective. It is like, you have the whole light of the city in control, in one switch, right? So the switch turning on, or you can have the power, you can have the bulbs, I am turning that, I always give this example of, illusion of control. I'm going to turn this around. You may have the power, you may have all the lights, you may have all the wirings, but without turning on the switch, light does not come on. So the switch has the power to turn the light of the whole city on. So that is that 1%, that the power of that 1% that can do a lot, on the other 99% that we don't control. So man is a doer, but the illusion is even in our doership, we think we control everything in it, plus we think we control the result and not the process. Right? So these are the two things. Kartrutva, illusion of control, is these two things. What? We think we control the end when we control the means. We think we control the outcome when we think we control or when we actually control the process. Right? That's two. And in the things that we control, that which we actually control is where we intentionally do, not in things that we don't intentionally do. That is all behind or below our conscious level. So these are two aspects of illusion of control. And why is it important? Why is illusion of control important?
Because you don't want the senses to take over your thinking. You want, basically, the example of anger taking over.
Exactly, right? That's what the next verses were, right? So we were looking at verse 28, right? How does a jnani use this concept? He says, Tattvavittu mahabaho guna karma vibhagayoho gunaha guneshu vartanta iti matva na sajjate. Fantastic. In one shloka is explained everything. He says, Tattvavit. What is a Tattvavit? Tattvavit means, Tattva means what? What is Tattva?
Knowing yourself.
No. Tattva means as is. Right? Thatness. Tat means that. Thatness, as is, objectivity, and all of those things. So Tattvavit means one who really knows as is, things as they are, knows the truth. Right? Tattvavittu mahabaho. Right? Guna karma vibhagayoho. Guna karma vibhagayoho tattvavit. One who knows the truth, the reality, the as-isness of guna karma vibhaga. And I was explaining this last time. What is guna karma vibhaga? How is guna and karma related, first of all? How is a guna related to a karma? First of all, even before that, what is a guna?
It's the potential versus the kinetic.
Right?
The potential
The potential versus express. Right? So that is, guna is the state, the ness of things. Right? You say he is a good person. That goodness is a guna. Right? It's a state of being good. But it is, goodness is what? It's a sum total of your actions. Right? A good person is good because he does good actions. Is there anything good without actions that are good? Remember, this is where I was saying, in Western philosophy it's possible, but in India it is not. You are a good person if you do good actions. That's about it. The goodness is the sum total of all the actions that you have done. If you do both good and bad actions, you are mishra. That means you are mixed. If you do good actions, you are good person. If you do bad actions, you are bad person. That's it. You cannot be a bad person. You cannot be a good person doing bad actions. You cannot be that. Right? You are what you do. That's in the Indian traditions. So the goodness is a potential, or the guna is a potential. Karma is an expression of that, right? How we express what we have. So, can you know a guna of a person just by seeing him or her?
No.
Right? No. You can only judge a person by his actions, right? Guna, if you say he is a sadguna, he has sadguna, and he doesn't do anything, he's just sitting there. Can you say yes? Oh, I know he's a sadguna. Oh, he's a tamoguna person.
Good, but my intentions could be bad.
Correct.
So,
That's also there. Yeah. But the guna, but that is the judgment of a person who judges a guna based on the actions. Correct. See, all we can do is judge a guna based on actions. Can we have any other access to judge a guna of a person? No, just the expression, right? Intention is what? Internal to us. That intention tells you what the real guna is. Action tells others what you're doing, right? So intention. So here, karma is not just the expression, it is the intent with the expression, right? I mean, that intent is what makes guna a guna. A sadguna, a rajoguna is, you can have a bad intention and do a good action in a rajoguna. It's mixed. So, that is nature or guna and expression of that nature. That is karma. So, what is this karma, guna karma, vibhaga, the divisions of nature and expression? What are the three gunas? Sattva guna, rajoguna, tamoguna. Those are the three gunas we have. What are the three karmas we do based on those three gunas? Sattva guna expresses as sat karma, good karma. Rajoguna expresses as what?
Action. Your
Mishra karma. It can be both good and bad. Tamoguna expresses as dushkarma. Right? There are three kinds of karma. Sat karma, Mishra karma and dushkarma. Three kinds of karma. That means a person does not just do a bad or a good action. Sometimes they are mixed. And most of the times they are mixed. Right? It's just like, hey, I have a good intention, but I did something bad. Or I have a very bad intention, but I did something good out of it. But the intent was very bad. I mean, we have mixed intent and action. They don't match always. Right? So where they match, in the sattva guna, it's expression of the good, the sat guna in a person, and also in the tamo guna, it's expression of the tamas. Right? So now, I said sattva, rajas and tamas, and every day or every class I write this. What exactly is sat guna? What exactly is rajoguna? What exactly is tamoguna? Have all of you do all of you know this from before that? I mean, you should have in your family. Your elders may have talked about all this. You might have heard this. I mean, these are. To anyone, is this new? Rajoguna, tamoguna, sattva-guna. So you've all heard about it, right? Everybody's heard about it. Okay. So then, what is it? What is? Tell me leave the sattva-guna out, right? I show these two. Rajoguna and tamoguna. What is rajoguna? When do you know you have rajoguna? When do you know when you have tamoguna?
the drive, your aggressiveness,
Right?
and your eagerness to, I guess, grow or
Again, something is
earn money or
Right.
whatever.
Unless but good
In
reason.
a nutshell, if you live like an animal, that's your
I mean,
If you live for yourself.
I think both are living like an animal.
But if you live for yourself, but just showing off good, it would
Right.
be the
Right? So, can we say that Rajoguna is a state where we have a lot of energy, a lot of spirit, right? Right? So that means there is a state when Rajoguna comes. This is all. We are talking in terms of guna. So physically it translates to you have testosterone, adrenaline, all of these are kicking. So that is the physical portion of it. But if you go to the guna portion of it, that is the template within which all these happen. So Rajoguna means a high spirited state, a state of high energy where you get a high. So when you get a high, you get a sense of power. You get a sense of exclusivity. You get a sense of control, right? You get a sense of all of these when you get high energy, right? So Rajoguna means where I get the energy to do, right? That's why they say Rajoguna leads to karma. Why? Because exactly, right? It gives you the energy to do. That's why it's Rajoguna. Rajoguna is that high, that energy that creates in the body, in the state of mind, in the body, to express things in actions. That is Rajoguna. Right? What is Tamoguna? What is Tamoguna then?
Inaction.
not
It's inaction. It's staying slow.
So it is a low energy state. So it is not it is inaction, but it is, so you can see, if you can conceive the universe consisting of two kinds of forces, right? One is a excitatory force. That means that which excites, that which gives you a lot of energy to do. The opposite is a kind of an inhibitory force that inhibits this excitement. that brings the energy. So there is a system that takes the energy up. There is a system that brings the energy down. Right? There are two kinds of system. So when the energy going up is in control, it gives you the high, it gives you the power to do, it gives you a lot of energy to go do things. The one that inhibits, if that takes control, it takes away energy to do. That means, what is that energy? What is tamasic state then? Give me an example of tamasic state. Sleeping, yeah, is tamasic, but laziness, yeah. Laziness is, right? Inhibition to activity, right? Alasya, nidra, bhaya. These are, these fear is a inhibitory thing, right? Depression inhibits. Anxiety is both kind of. Anxiety is there's a lot of energy as well as kind of inhibition. Yeah. So all of these things are right. One kind of force is taking control, then the other takes control. You get too much. So that's why, right? An upward going arrow that is excitatory, and then a downward going arrow which is inhibitory in function. So there is always an imbalance. I mean, this is true both in the microcosmic world within us as well as macrocosmic universe. The universe was created in a rajasic energy. The universe gets destroyed in a tamasic energy. Right? So there's a big cycle of these three gunas, and there are smaller cycles of these three gunas in the individual level, in the civilizational level. When things multiply, grow, and all of those things, that growth phase is rajasic. Right? When that coming down, dying down phase, shrinking phase is tamasic. Right? So these forces are always acting against each other. Therefore, these forces always act against each other at all the time. But one of them takes the upper hand at any time, any given time. Either the rajasic forces are upper hand, therefore it's growing, or the tamasic forces are upper hand, therefore it is inhibiting or shrinking. Right? Then what is sattva then?
Balance between both.
It's a state of balance between the excitatory forces and the inhibitory forces. Okay, so that is what sattva is. That means sattva has the energy of rajas. What is the goodness about tamas?
Stability.
Right? What does tamas do? It inhibits and brings stability. Right? Because see, rajas is like a car without a gas. I mean, without a brake pedal. It's going to crash, right? Tamas is the brake. So what does tamas do? What is the goodness that tamas brings? It brings control. Without tamas, everything is out of control. I mean, the guy is partying 24/7, and one day is going to crash, right? But you need a brake there. Right? You really need a BREAK and BRAKE, right? So you need that brake. So that brake is tamasic. So tamas is not bad in that sense. You need tamas because that is the one that brings stability and control to the whole situation, right? But tamas in itself is what? A car with only the brake pedal. It's standing there, nothing is happening, right? So there's nothing there, there's no usefulness. So tamas by itself is useless. Rajas by itself is what? Destructive and dangerous. So when you bring those two in harmony, when you bring those two systems in harmony, what happens? It's like a car with both gas pedal and brake. You do some useful things, right? So that is the state of sattva. Sattva is a state where you have the energy of the rajas with the stability of the tamas at the moderate level, at the moderate level of moderation. That means you don't have the high of rajas, but you have the energy. You have the energy of rajas, but the calmness of tamas. A calm, level-headed energy of go do, that is sattva. Right?
Why in some places, I don't remember exactly where it said, overcome all three.
You're going way beyond what we need to do here. That is called as gunatita. We will come to that state. Na sajjante. See, gunaha guneshu vartanta iti matva na sajjate. That is what it means, right? He does not care whether sattva guna has taken control of him, or rajoguna, or tamoguna. Therefore, he becomes a gunatita. But you cannot become a gunatita without first being a sadguna. Right? Sadguna is the one that gives you the power to actually transcend itself. But that is, beyond the scope of this class, right? We'll go to it when we do the Triguna Yoga. But yes, that is there. But right now, let's only be in this Rajas and Tamas first, right? So, Rajoguna gives us the energy. And do we need energy?
Yep.
We need energy, right? Tamoguna gives us stability. Do we need stability? We need stability. But we need energy with stability. We need stability with energy. We don't need just stability. That means just you are not doing anything. Nothing is happening if it's just stability. If it is just energy, it is uncontrolled. Right? It's a rocket that's fired. There's no control to it. It's very destructive. So when you bring those two, the energy and the stability together, what is that state? That is what is. So if you wondered why I have an up arrow for Rajas and down arrow for Tamas, that is what it is. I mean, this was the class I think we did in 2007. We started off with Triguna because that's the basis for everything. So that's when I started this. But then after that, there are a lot of new people who came to the class. So this is the context of writing this. The up arrow is the energy. The down arrow is lack of energy but stability. It means stability. So both are required now. Now, in terms of how do we know? Okay, when do you know, or how does it feel to be in Sattva-guna? Can you describe? Have you ever felt Sattva-guna? Then you have. This is not a bookish class. This is a class about, reality, how everyday life is. So if I say Sattva-guna, you need to tell me, hey, this is how it feels. I smell, touch, test, and taste the Sattva-guna like this. Otherwise, you don't know Sattva-guna.
Usually a professional is a professional will be in Sattva-guna. This is my duty. This is I have to do. So I just do.
I'm not even talking about any profession. I'm just saying, when you are in Sattva-guna, how do you feel?
Being in the Gita class.
I'm touched. Okay, how does it feel to be in a Gita class? Balance, right? I mean, balance is like, very... See, I need more description than just saying balance and moderation and all that. We need to give different dimensions of it. Otherwise, it is...
When we go to temple and when we pray and we feel that kind of I don't know. Calmness.
Okay, so calmness.
Meditation, you feel a lot of balance. You're doing work. At the same time, you're very balanced and stable.
If the meditation is like that.
Yes.
If you sleep off, then it's not a meditation. Right? So meditation is an active state. An active state of energy.
You're doing karma. Yeah.
You are doing karma in meditation. Otherwise, not just shutting your eyes, that's not meditation. Yeah, it's not almost sleeping, right?
Satisfaction when you volunteer.
Exactly. That is a very important aspect of it, right? In a sattvic state, you are calm, you are satisfied, and what?
Active.
And dana. When you do dana,
You feel like giving, right? You feel very giving. You feel what? Ahlada, right? Happiness. Kind of calm happiness, right? A state of calm happiness. And
one thing, watching the moon. If it is, watching the moon, full moon.
watching the full moon?
Full moon with, just like that.
Yeah, like, watching something. You feel that, that fullness of that satisfaction.
Yeah, because sometimes, this question pops up is, what's the difference between satisfaction and contentment? Okay, so satisfaction is mostly a short-term feeling of gratification based on some sensory fulfillment.
Right.
Contentment is more internalized.
Right. That's the English thing. But, I think we are talking about trupti. The trupti is that,
Yes.
right? Satisfaction. When you come to English, it has its own conceptual things. But yeah, you feel trupta, like being a trupta, right? Trupta. And when do you feel that?
When carpenter sings a song and he does work, his work.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm thinking of very mundane things here. Okay, see. I said Rajas and Tamas, right? They're in macrocosmic and microcosmic space, right? The day has rajasic energy. The night has tamasic energy. Right? When the day comes, it gives you the rajas to go do things. When the tamas comes, it takes that energy off and you rest. Right? So day and night is rajas and tamas. Right? And I said, the space where these two are balanced, there is sattva. Where is this day and night balanced? Sandhi kala, right? Sandhya kala. What is sandhya? Sandhya means where they are intersecting each other. So day intersects night, evening. Night intersects day in the morning twilight, right? Sandhya kala. So Sandhya kala is when there is a lot of sattvic. Or, in other words, when you have slept all night and you wake up, that is for sure, if you're not having any other problems, the most sattvic state that you can be in. When you get up, you'll feel the calmness, all the issues of the previous day are gone, and then you have a sense, and you have the energy to go about do things, right? The first thing in the morning when you wake up, that is a start. So, tomorrow morning, when you get up, take a few minutes to at least, think, oh, this is how I sense. That is the state of sattva.
Are you telling us to turn off our alarm clocks?
No.
But what might our life is very poor.
No, I'm saying, get up, but at least take 5 minutes to think, hey, how am I feeling? Because that's how you feel in the state of sattva. You have the energy and the zeal to go and do things, but you have a lot of calmness. Nothing, the greed and the anger and all of those things of the previous day is all died down because of the tamas of the night. So the sattva is there, but then as the day grows, your rajas takes hold more and more and more, and then your problems come in, right? So that is how sattva feels. You need to connect with your sattva, right? You need to know how sattva feels so you can maximize it. So sattva, how does a rajas feel then?
Energy.
Yeah, but how does it feel? Give me an example of what is the feeling?
That you
Anger.
make your,
So
you
you wanna-
waste your time.
Anger.
You know, I perform the task. Without
I gotta do it.
good, I gotta do it.
Energetic.
And then you feel energetic. You feel in control. You feel powerful. What else is there in rajas?
I'm the only one can do it. That's kind of hard.
Exclusivity, right? As you go up, you get exclusivity. As you go down, you lose yourself in the crowd, right? So that is that when I was talking about ahankara increases with rajas and decreases with tamas. So exclusivity increases. Hey, it's me alone, I alone, my people alone. Others are different. When all these feelings come, right? I can do. I need to get respect. Hey, me first. That feeling of high is what? That energy state is rajas, right? And how do you feel in tamas? Huh?
Footman.
Who cares?
I'm done for the day.
You're done for it.
So,
How do you feel in tamas?
I give up.
give up.
I can't do it.
I'm tired.
I give up. I'm tired, right? I'm tired.
Let me go to sleep.
Scared. When you're scared.
I'm scared. Depressed. Dukkha is a state of dukkha, right? Tamas is a state of dukkha.
Boy, I can't do it.
I cannot do it.
Expressions or feelings of tamas follows the feelings of rajas.
Exactly. That is correct.
Because if you are, okay, I'm the only one who can do it and somebody else did it, then you feel challenged.
Right. So when you're more here,
Yeah.
you'll fall here very fast. Right? Yes, that's correct. That's why this is a state of equipoise. If you are in that state, you'll always be in that state. If you go to higher state, you'll fall down to the lower state. That's why you go up and down. Because if you are here, there is no ups and downs. If you are here, there is a down. Then there is an up, there is a down. That's why it is an up and down. Right? Sukha dukkha. This is that. Okay, so inhibitory and tamas is like that, where you feel lazy, you feel scared, where you feel you cannot do it, you feel nobody respects me. Everything which is opposite to rajas, where you feel I am the king of the world, you feel everybody is the king, I am the only servant. Right? That is state of tamas. Right? So these are the three states that will be there in everybody. Right? So what is Krishna saying here? Tattvavid tu mahabaho, the one who knows the truth about guna karma vibhagayoho, of gunas and how it affects karma, then what does he do? Gunaha guneshu vartanta iti matva na sajjate. Matva, he thinks. Mati, he thinks, he understands what? Gunaha guneshu vartante. My gunas in my body are interacting with the gunas in the world, and they are interacting with each other. Sajjante. Na sajjate means what? Sangha. Sajjate means to be attached. So he becomes a Teflon. Right? Everything just goes by it. Nothing gets attached to it. Right? He becomes a Teflon for all this. And we were discussing this last time, right? We were discussing this. What does it mean that gunaha guneshu vartante? What does it mean?
Overcoming your senses.
How do you do that? See,
Controlling yourself.
no. Controlling.
Well, if you control, you will be fighting.
Correct.
So,
So, what naturally, how the body is built is all the three gunas have upper hand at certain points of time. Right? Your rajas comes up, your tamas comes up, your sattva comes up. It's a cycle. Different gunas come up at different times. They all come up, and it's a natural cycle. Right? Now, what is being attached to them? Like last time we were discussing, what is that?
Emotions.
No, see, gunas affect emotions. Right? If you get, when the tamo guna is increasing in the body, your emotions act accordingly. You get very depressive emotions, fear, all of those. When they start showing up, that means your tamo guna is increasing in the body. So when the tamo guna increases, right, when you are feeling that tamas in the body, you require the switch, correct? See, the 99% is the gunas, right? And the 1% is the switch. What is that switch?
your actions.
Your actions.
Your desire for
Intention and action.
Yeah, but still, like we discussed last time, what is that one thing that's needed for gunas to take hold?
Separation between 90% and 10%.
No, that's fine, but
You itself, like you.
no, you have to be consumed by it, right? Remember last time we were talking like, see,
The karma, it's like kind of karma that needs to be.
no, not just karma. It's like, when you get remember last time I was saying, when you get angry, it is natural to get angry. There's nothing unnatural about it, right? If something bad happens or wrong happens, that you've been wronged or something, you feel wronged, your body gives you the energy. What is anger? It's a state of energy to go do things. Correct? Okay. Is there anything wrong with anger?
No.
Okay. So, then what is wrong then?
Being consumed by it.
Being consumed by it, right? See, there is a very split second, a moment, where you have the control to either be consumed by it or just watch it go by.
Step back yourself. and
Step
look at it.
back, yeah, right? Either you get very angry, either you act on it or you just notice it and then let it go by.
I think you used the word mindfulness.
Which is what the whole mindfulness concept is that. That is, you do not get consumed by the feelings, right? What happens? See, when the first principle in the second adhyaya is body, jiva and the deha are two different things. What does that bring? That says, hey, it is not Prakriti that is taking hold of you. You are holding Prakriti. Right? See, it is we who are holding Prakriti. And therefore we who have to give up. Right? If Prakriti was holding you, then you are at its mercy. Then whatever sadhana you do, it's useless, right? Because, hey, I am not doing anything. I mean, it is controlling me, and therefore I cannot do anything about it. But the whole problem is, I am consumed by it. So I am holding it, and it is taking me for a ride. I mean, it is taking me for a ride, like, it's like going on a wild horse, right? You're not letting it go. You're just holding, and it is going all its ways. So all you have to do is just jump out of it, right? What we do is ride it, right? That is what we do. So whatever trigunas, you're talking about gunatita, right? So gunatita is that. So it is not being attached or not being consumed by any guna that comes up in our body. Does it make sense or not? I don't see. I see tamas. So I need to.
The key here is knowledge will let us overcome, or it will prevent us from being consumed by the gunas.
Right.
But the reality is, okay, you know it, but you still get consumed by the gunas. So,
right.
So we talk about it. And I think we touched on this briefly in the last meeting. Is
right.
The knowledge is there, or at least the theoretical knowledge is there. But the application of it in life is basically where the rubber meets the road.
Right. I mean, that's what sadhana is. Sadhana is not just shravana. This is what we are doing is shravana. We are getting the information, but it doesn't mean anything if it is not translated into action and change. Right. So the three gunas happen in the body, and what Krishna is saying is, hey, you have that one bit of control, either to be consumed by it or choose to let it go by. Do you think you can let it go by? Have you ever done it? Not suppress it. I'm saying let it go by. Acknowledging it, but just let it go by.
I think it happens with our kids many times. We get very angry, but we understand that there's a limit to how much you can express yourself.
Right.
And we let it go sometimes.
Okay.
Burn of steam somewhere else maybe.
See, burn of steam is like, again you're acting.
you let it dissipate.
Yeah. But again, you're doing it in a constructive way.
Yeah,
So
it's dissipating. When
Yeah.
you don't go and tie your kid to the pole,
Yeah.
like Krishna's mom did one day, for eating or stealing the bird. You don't do that.
Right. Yeah. So, okay, that it brings us to a very interesting question. That is feeling jealous, greed, anger, hate, is feeling all those bad? It is not. Right? Feeling greed is not bad. Feeling hate is not bad. Feeling jealous is not bad.
Make us human, isn't it?
Acting on it is bad. That is what. Sajjate is either you attach. See, you can feel the greed because that is nature. It sees the difference. Hey, they have so much, I don't have that. So it is natural when there is inequality to feel greed, right? That it happens. But the control is either you be consumed by it and act on it, or you choose for that feeling to arise and then dissipate on its own. That is neither suppressing nor acting on it. Remember when we started, I said should desire be expressed or suppressed? And we said we need to transcend it. You neither express it nor suppress it.
The problem is that it's a fine line. Means even if you have the feeling,
right?
Okay, you may develop negative thoughts in your mind. Okay, you may not actually go and act on it per se,
right?
In the physical sense. But karma is still karma. Even karma does get generated in our thoughts, in our mental ways.
Right.
And so there could be a lot of negativity that we generate internally.
No.
That which is bad.
So,
especially because of
what you are talking about is kaya, vacha, manasa, right? There's a kaya, that is the karma that we express in the body. Manasa, the karma we express through the thoughts and feelings that we have. Vacha, karma that we express through our talking to people, right? Our voice. So these are there, but this is, I'm not talking about manasika karma. I'm only saying when acting on it means it is not wrong or bad to feel something. It is wrong only when you act on it.
Even the thought is the act in that case.
Yes, but that's how it is.
Yeah.
Right? Because the other option is to suppress it. See, when you suppress it, it increases in power. When you express it, it increases in power. So what do? Right? What Krishna is saying here is, see, the trigunas is a natural cycle. When there is inequality, the body naturally has greed. When there is something, there is an envy. When there is some wrong done, there is anger. That's natural. When there is something there which is flashy, there is desire. These are all natural, right? There is nothing wrong in feeling all these feelings which are all natural. There's nothing wrong there. That is what the body, that is what these gunas are. These are the gunas that when they come up, they generate these feelings. But being consumed by it, sajjante, being taken over by it, then acting on it becomes the cause of these gunas becoming more powerful.
But some of these emotions, you might not necessarily act on it. For example, if you feel jealous that, your neighbor's house is better than yours, you're not going to go and burn it down.
No.
But still,
See, when I
stay with you.
When I say act on it, I mean both expressing it and suppressing it. Right? If you are not going and burning your neighbor's house, it is because you are suppressing it. That means you are still acting on it to hold it down. Right? But I am saying, do not hold it down, act on it like that, nor do you go and express it.
You step yourself out of it.
And let the feeling take over, and then just fizzle away. That's what Krishna says. Gunaha guneshu vartante. It acts, this is how body acts. But I don't show any interest towards it. That is the Teflon that I'm talking about. Right? It's like the clouds passing in the sky. If you hold on to it, that's the problem. But, if you just let it pass, it is going to pass. None of the gunas will hold you indefinitely. See, what Krishna is saying is, hey, the guna vriddhi happens. The guna increases when you show interest. Right? That is what in Sanskrit is called abhimana. Right? Note down this, abhimana. When I show abhimana, that is when a certain guna increases. That abhimana can be positively acting out on it or negatively suppressing it. Both is abhimana. That means I think. Because see, why I am saying this is many times ethics, mostly Western ethics, and kind of confused Indian traditional ethics, make us be guilty of all of these things. Hey, did you feel jealous? You should not feel jealous. Then what do? Feelings, I said in one of the classes, I said, you cannot control feelings. Right? You cannot control feelings. You cannot feel the feelings. Then when you are suppressing it, it is growing. And therefore, you will see people like us. Right? Right? That is the problem. So the problem of ethics is we confuse the feelings with actions. The whole point of karma yoga is, hey, focus on karma. Other things will come in track if you focus on karma. That is the point of Krishna. Feelings you cannot control. Thoughts, it's not easy to control. What is easy to control? What you do. So let's focus there. As blunt as it can be. Right? So, what Krishna is saying here is, hey, feeling is not a problem. You feel anger, go feel anger. You feel jealous, go feel jealous. If you feel envy, feel envy. If you feel greedy. Not a problem. Right? You are feeling it because of a reason. So, there's no problem there. Don't be consumed by it.
I have a question. Sometimes when my son is very angry, and because he's angry, he's grumpy, and he doesn't talk to his brother properly. So I tell him, okay, Ishan, if you're angry, I have no problem. I'm going to make a paper roll for you with a newspaper. Go outside and just hit it and shout and whatever you want to do. Don't spread your grumpiness here.
Right.
If he's doing that, if he's following my directions, would you say...
No, see, we are talking about sadhana here, right? See, he is... My son Ishan is also, I need to do that too with him.
No, but if, let's say, okay, let's adult. If I'm angry,
Right.
and I did that, I went outside and I just shouted and screamed, and would you say I'm letting it out?
See, this is the point where what Venki asked comes. Right?
Yeah.
When you move that bad energy in a constructive way, you're doing sattva. Right? What we are doing here is transcending the gunas. Right? Whatever comes, I'm not interested. I'm not making it increase. See, if Rajo Guna comes, your son or my son or even us, it is very hard to let it fizzle away, right? That needs a lot of sadhana to be able to do that. It's like, it's a martial art. I mean, in the martial arts, you get that training. So that kind of training needs a lot of training, right? But to go to that state, the initial state is to what? Is to choose to make that into a constructive thing, so that the destructive energy is transformed into constructive energy. When you start becoming very good in that, then you go to the next step of fizzling it away by not doing anything. Right? So, sattva guna is that, where you transform the destructive energy into a constructive energy becomes sattva guna. Gunatita is where whatever happens, you are unmoved, like a martial arts guy.
So what's the difference between letting a angry emotion just pass away
Yeah.
and suppressing the anger?
Because when you suppress it or act on it, the way the gunas work is, the gunas happen in the body, right? And it is waiting for you to show abhimana towards it. When you show abhimana towards it, that means you say, I am interested in it. The minute or the second that you show interest in it, you cause its abhivriddhi. It increases. Its frequency of coming to the top increases more. So if you are showing more interest towards towards tamoguna, more frequently it will arise in you. The more and more interest you show, that becomes the main state. See, the personalities that we are today are the interests that we have shown during our growth phase, or during all the actions that we have done. Right? If you don't show interest, that withers away. You show interest, that gains strength. And that becomes the main whole.
So does it depend on your hatha, what you like, your nature?
Yeah, I mean that is it's a very fundamental thing, right? Your hatha gives you your swabhava, that means your nature. But it's also your nurture, right? Prabhava and swabhava both result in your actions. So
But is it, in what state you are? Firstly, can you measure it at the extent you can do it, and can you record it?
okay.
In the sense that, I know that during this time, during the day,
Right,
I felt tamasic, or rajas, or whatever.
right.
Is it possible to recognize it?
Oh yeah, that is the sadhana, all right? Sadhana is, first of all, if you don't recognize it, how will you change it? Right? The first step of sadhana is to be aware of which guna you are in at any point of time. Right? So, if I'm feeling sattva guna, fine, it's fine. But when I feel rajo guna or tamo guna, to first know that you are in that guna is important first. Otherwise, then you can talk about fizzling.
I think we need a phone app, right, to actually...
So,
No, seriously. And then you can, over time, look at it and say, okay, how many times have I been,
you don't want to be in tamo guna permanently.
Exactly, I tell you. If you think about it, you won't know, but you actually got to record it.
Yeah. Right? So that's the thing, right? So, I lost my train of thought. What was the thing I was saying? The abhivriddhi. So, the guna cycle happens, the more that you feed a certain guna, when I say feed, that means abhimana, be consumed by it, the more it starts coming frequently up and taking hold of you. So, today, whatever we are, in personality, in terms of gunas, the mixture of gunas, everybody of us, we have mixture of all the three gunas, but the percentages change. The percentage landscape is the abhimana that you have showed to different gunas that came up at different points of time when you are encountering the environment around you.
But still, this jealousy of burning the house, instead of that, we can have a good thought, and I will do actions the way my neighbor has done it, so I build a bigger house.
That's feeding it, right?
That's feeding it, right?
So yeah, like
In a good
You are acting on it. See,
constructive way.
sattva. See, even sattva guna, you act on it, right? See, any of the gunas when they take hold, you act on it, right? So when she said anger, when anger comes, you act on it in a constructive way, which I need to do because I have some problems with that. But that act on it is what? Giving a sattvic channel, right? So, but what Krishna is saying is ultimately that is not even the case. I mean, we are still under the control of the gunas at that point. But there is a point where none of these things matter at all. I mean, they come and go, they fizzle away.
Yeah, but that's the point I'm trying to still understand. Fizzle away.
Yeah.
The fact that people like you get the feeling, and either you do this something sadhana to think about doing something else.
Right.
So when do you know you're suppressing it or you're fizzling away? That's the
Take it from
distinction.
me that at this level, we have to put it in constructive ways. So that is the when kung fu martial art guy, when he is at that state, that's when it fizzles away, right? Nothing, there's nothing there. Feelings just come and go.
Yes, we won't be in this class if it's fizzling away.
Exactly. Right? So that is the thing, right? So first of all, even though we have to do this because it's there in the Karma Yoga, but the first step in a sadhana is first of all identify the guna, right? That's the first step. Step back from the guna when it comes up, and when you step back, it gives you the power to use it in constructive ways as well. When you are attached to gunas, you are riding the crazy horse, right? It will take you wherever it goes. So to even make that horse go in the direction that you want to go, you still need to step back and use that energy in a constructive way. Right? Somebody, she has to step back, or somebody has to step back from the situation and then mold it in a very constructive way, right? Somebody has to step back. So when that step back happens, that's the power of sattva. The very thing that gives you the ability to step back, that's the power of sattva. The power of the sattva is to give you the ability to step back from the abhimana of the guna, and therefore inherent in it is the power to transcend all the three gunas. So that is why Krishna says nitya sattvasta in one of the shlokas. You have to become nitya sattvasta. You should always be in sattvika guna, constructive ways. Only then can you have a way out. There is only one door for transcendence of all the three gunas, and that is through sattva. You have to be in one of the gunas. And both Rajo guna and Tamo guna are bandhanas. There is no escape from them. There is only one escape, and that is through sattva guna. So you have to go through sattva guna. Be in sattva guna and then transcend the sattva guna. That means calmness is the door to transcendence in the common parlance.
That takes a lot of time, right?
Because
like acting.
None of these will happen overnight. It takes a lot of lifetimes, right?
Exactly. Because like acting in a negative way is instant. You can just go
Yeah,
and learn something.
right.
But like if you want to either transcend or like fizzle out or just let it pass,
Right.
it will take a lot of thinking and
Right.
or constructive action.
Exactly.
I tell my children, being bad is real easy. Being good is what most difficult.
So that is what you see. Gunaha guneshu vartanta iti matva na sajjate. So that the beauty of this is, hey, at that level, these gunas when they happen, and the person does not show any interest towards that, the gunas naturally fizzle away. And the beauty of the gunas is, hey, it comes up and it wants you to grab. It's like shopping, right? Most of you know them. If there is that bag and it wants you to grab, right? You just watch it and then it goes by. Then that bag does not have any power over you, right? So when you show interest, then it has power over you, right? Basically, then what? What does that mean? That means who is holding? Is it the Prakriti or you? It is you who is holding, and therefore you who has to give up, right? So that is what Krishna is saying. So at one point of time when these fizzle away, when you don't show any interest, neither Rajas will rise nor Tamas will rise, and Sattva will make you transcend. Gunaha guneshu sajjanta iti matva. Gunaha guneshu vartanta iti matva na sajjate.
Or it's like a feeling that, when you do something or something,
Right.
Happens, you kind of, I'm not the one doing it.
Mhm.
I'm just an instrument. When you have the feeling every time, I think probably we can come out of it. Like
That is the next one. So that feeling also has a question, that I will ask you. I think that's so. Let's do the 29th verse fast, and then we can go to verse 30. Verse 30 is the summary of the whole karma yoga. So prakriteha guna sammudaha. Now we saw how the wise ones act, right? Now let's see how the common people, right? What do you call that? The common Joe. Huh? Aam Aadmi. How Aam Aadmi asked? Prakriteha guna sammudaha sajjante gunakarmasu tan akritsna vidaha mandan kritsnavit na vichalayet. Now Krishna connects that to what he said previously. He's saying how we now saw how wise ones act. Now let's see how common person Aam Aadmi acts. How is it? He says prakruteha guna sammudaha. They become guna I said muda means what? To veil, right? Guna sammuda, the gunas veil, in the sense that when they happen, that person completely gets consumed by it, and therefore he gives into it more and more, and that dominates the his actions. All these rajoguna and tamoguna dominates his actions. So prakruteha guna sammudaha, one who is taken in by the prakriti gunas, sajjante guna karmasu, they get attached to the gunas that prakriti bring and express the actions that those gunas cause. Right? So the difference between a jnani and a jnani is a jnani can step back, look at the gunas come up and fizzle out and act. An ajnani, when things come up, he will act, can be consumed by it, and when he is consumed, he is showing abhimana, that increases. And that gunas, basically the rajoguna and the tamogunas, they take hold of him and control his life. So he no longer controls, the gunas control him. Right? So Krishna says, Tan akritsna vidaha mandan kritsna vid na vichalayet. Remember we were saying, do not force conversion, do not force other people to change. You need to inspire change by acting accordingly, acting correctly. Right? He's saying, Tan akritsna vidaha, those, what is kritsnam? Kritsnam means one full, complete, right? Complete understanding. So akritsnam means those who have narrow understanding, like these, those who get consumed by their gunas and act on it and increase the rajo and tamogunas in themselves. Hey, do not force them to change, because they are very narrow in their thinking. Kritsnavit, a jnani who knows the big picture.